Jazz libraries have always been a pain to sample. Whether due to the market demand, the nuance in sampling, or both, it hasn't been until recently when jazz-oriented sample libraries became more prominent and started catching our attention. One company who has recently taken the jazz sampling world by storm is Straight Ahead Samples. A relatively small company, Straight Ahead Samples launched their first product in 2012, a library focused on jazz drums. Since then, they've continued to serve the rhythm section with an upright bass library, bongos and congas, brushes and mallets, and a free clavinet library. However, it wasn't until late 2020 when people really started to pay attention due to a brand new technology years in the making. In this overview, we'll take a look at what Straight Ahead Samples has to offer, including the vision, overall sound, price point, workflow, and outreach marketing. As a jazz and big band lover myself, I'm not ashamed to say that I own all their libraries, and if you want to learn more about these and some other favorites of mine, I can't recommend highly enough that you download my free sample library buyer's guide. It contains all my personal sample library recommendations in addition to their prices and how to use them for best results. Think of this as a companion guide for whenever you're shopping for a brand new library. It's 100% free, so click the first link below in the description and be sure to grab it. It's my gift to you for watching this video today, so enjoy. Alright, without further ado, let's dive in. Kicking things off with a vision of Straight Ahead Samples, the company set out to create jazz-oriented virtual instruments that sound utterly fantastic. Naturally, this is an extremely difficult thing to do given the nuance and life that goes into live performances, which can vary greatly depending on the performer and musical context. To overcome this obstacle, and developing a revolutionary technology in the process, they created what they call Smart Delay, an intelligent script that analyzes every aspect of your MIDI performance and spits out a lively, realistic phrase that truly sounds like a real player if you close your eyes and listen. This naturally comes with a delay, 4 beats to be exact, so the generally recommended workflow is to perform your parts in real time, tweak the articulations, MIDI notes, and velocities accordingly, then switch the library to Smart Delay while shifting your MIDI region 4 beats earlier. That way, the engine has the appropriate amount of time to analyze your performance and work its magic, resulting in an incredible phrase that lines up with the rest of your arrangement. Beyond this technology, they have consistently released horn and woodwind libraries following the percussion, beginning with Birth of the Trumpet and culminating in their Atomic Big Band, which features all individually sampled horns of the big band, of course using their Smart Delay concept as well. The solo instrument libraries are intended for a slightly more mellow, exposed, intimate solo context, while Atomic Big Band excels in the C-ring fortissimo range. And while you could certainly use the Atomic Big Band for intimate solos, I would most likely use the individual solo libraries for the context instead, with the Atomic Big Band supporting in the background. For rhythm section, they've got their free piano library called the Real Piano, as well as an upright bass library, drums, and hopefully a guitar in the future as well to round things out. Overall, what truly makes Straight Ahead Samples stand out from the rest of the jazz competition is their Smart Delay concept, which might possibly work its way into orchestral-oriented instruments as well. We'll just have to see. Let's discuss the actual sound of these libraries. At first glance, you have the close mic loaded by default, with accompanying room and bleed microphones for extra depth. For intimate contexts, this mic configuration makes a lot of sense, as we typically interpret closer mic'd instruments as more upfront and near, which naturally enhances what these instruments were intended for. It's not easy for a sample library to excel in close mics, where every detail in the sound can be scrutinized, but the close mics are where Straight Ahead Samples shines. In terms of the sound quality itself, the samples are pristine, with each articulation containing the same fidelity and creating a lovely consistency throughout. When playing in real time, the samples tend to sound like any other jazz-oriented sample library, but switching to Smart Delay seems to not only bring the samples up a little bit closer, but creates a seamless performance that emphasizes legato transitions, swing accents, and overall attitude that you're looking for in your lines. I would say that the realism is as good as the sound itself, which is quite something in my opinion. The Atomic Big Band features an additional tape mic position, which sees all the samples run through a 1-inch tape machine from the 70s and creates a sort of timeless classic sound. Blending in a combination of the close and room mics will serve most big band tunes well for that tight studio sound, but of course you can fiddle with this however you like for your specific context. In terms of the overall sound, Straight Ahead Samples has nailed both the intimate and the studio sound for maximum flexibility. Of course, don't forget that with drier samples, you can easily add an external convolution or algorithmic reverb if needed, so it's quite easy to meld these libraries to our desired situations. Moving on to price point, straight-ahead samples strikes a balance between affordable and premium, with the individual instruments costing a little bit more, around $130 per horn and woodwind, and the Atomic Big Band coming in at $530, which is certainly not bad for the entire big band. If you're new to the series, you can grab one of their bundles for a discounted price, or the entire collection for just over $1,000. Sure, these are not the cheapest libraries on the market, but when you compare it to something like Broadway Big Band and the technology that comes with these tools, the cost becomes quite reasonable. Plus, the more you invest, the more seriously you end up taking the library, which is always a good thing. Of course, if you write charts for a living and need a good set of sample libraries to realize your ideas for your clients, then the libraries will pay for themselves multiple times over, and you might even want to use them for your final performances instead of hiring live players. The next question that comes to your mind might be, how do these libraries actually fit into my workflow? Are they fun and inspiring to use? To answer the second question first, I'd answer with a resounding yes. The workflow can be as simple as playing in your line in real time, adjusting the MIDI note length, articulation choices, and velocities as needed, moving your MIDI region back 4 beats, and activating Smart Delay. That's all it takes to blow your socks off. Of course, you can get as detailed and technical as you like, adjusting parameters like the mic positions, vibrato style and speed, velocity, staccato trigger, and a whole bunch of other things that can enhance your performance. But if you're a fan of simpler workflows like I am, I prefer to stick to the basics and let the engine do the heavy lifting. And 9 times out of 10, I find myself leaving the performance as it is, or doing very slight tweaks if absolutely necessary. So ultimately, I would say that these libraries are easy to use and provide incredible results for minimal effort. If you're looking for instant gratification, Smart Delay will become your new best friend. Finally, let's touch on the outreach and marketing for the company. Straight-ahead samples have always created solid walkthrough videos for each of their products with fair intro pricing and a willingness to hear feedback from their customers. Not only did they identify a gap in the market, but they're constantly improving with each subsequent release, creating libraries that people want to see and refining their existing products. They've recently also begun uploading jazz arranging and MIDI programming tutorials on their YouTube channel, which are naturally geared towards quick tips on using their libraries but can apply well to jazz arranging in a DAW in general. I also appreciate how simple the website is to use and navigate, which is a really important aspect of the customer experience and goes a long way to the enjoyment of their products. Installing and loading up the patches is also a breeze, and I'd highly recommend batch resaving each library so you can get to work instantly. Ultimately, while Straight-Ahead Samples is still a relatively small company with a small team, the work that they're doing is serving a huge market, and so I'm excited to see how they continue to grow from here. All in all, Straight-Ahead Samples has quickly become one of my go-to companies for jazz samples. The excellent tone, simple workflow, and revolutionary smart delay concept has set a new standard for jazz sampling in particular, and sampling as a whole. Other companies have experimented with look-ahead modes and delays for better MIDI performances, but Straight-Ahead Samples have dialed in their engine to near perfection, and the results speak for themselves. If you haven't given this company a thought in the past and are looking for some simple and flexible jazz samples, definitely consider these. The core of my big band template is now the Atomic Big Band with the individual instruments for solo purposes, and I don't see this changing anytime soon. If you'd like to check out the rest of my sample library recommendations, including for the full orchestra and other instruments, don't forget to download my free sample library buyer's guide in the description box below. I share every library that can serve you well in your mockups, as well as the prices and how I personally use them, so you've got a great foundation. Again, it's 100% free, and I'd love to give it to you as a gift for watching this video today. If you want to dive deeper into the Atomic Big Band, click this video right over here where I'll dive into the library, show you the features, and use one of my own songs as an example so you can hear it in action. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in that video. Take care.